Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and the continuation of Ella and Alec's story. We're heading back to Ella now. I spent so much time trying to cast spells, I end up falling asleep on the living room couch. By the time I wake up, it's late morning. Oh, ever notice that when you cry your eyes out the night before, then you wake up the next day with your lashes all crusted together? Me either. Turns out, it does happen, and it's disgusting. Sitting up, I cleared the crud out of my eyes and come to a major decision. If I allow myself to get weighed down by grief, it'll crush me like a bug in no time. I must channel my sorrow into something else. Not a problem. I'm casting spells and getting answers. My two big questions are easy enough, namely, who killed Alec? And how do I take the person down? First things first, I fire up my phone and send off an email to school saying that I have the flu and won't be in. I'm sure they've seen the news. No one will give me any grief. Next, I get to casting. I launch spells for everything, from summoning Alec's ghost to divining future. Each time a fairy just rises into a cloud for a moment, then it dissolves into nothing. Clearly, my magic skills need a tune-up. I tried to summon up some spells casting help. At first I reach out to Colonel Mallory Brian Knox. Sadly, I can't get the spell to connect. They must be out of touch indeed. I know they'd reach out if they'd gotten the news about Alec. And yes, I worry about them a little bit. Although with a dragon shifter and a queen of hearts along, my friends are well protected. Eventually, my thoughts circle back to Alec. What can I say? I'm a woman on a mission. Getting living help isn't working, so I conjure up some spell books for advice. Soon I've got a pile of leather volumes and tons of reading to do. In no time, my apartment becomes cluttered with open books, coffee cups, and pizza boxes. Finally, I figure out what's going on. My spells are failing because I'm looking for something that's either too hard, like breaking past Colonel Mallory's magical blockers, or simply too generic. Spells work best when you know exactly what you want. For beginners like me, it helps to pose a question. I make up a long list of stuff to ask. What happened to Alec? Who created my stalkers? What does the glass slipper ball have to do with my troubles? I use all these queries in my spells. Nothing works. Yet I'll never give up. That's when I notice it. An orb of aquamarine power hangs nearby. I know my spell colours. That's Jacoby's magic. And based on the swirl of yellow in the orb's centre, this is a long-distance message. Jacoby sent them before. If I get near enough to the floating sphere, the spell will kick into action. I take one step closer. 2. Sure enough, the coloured orb pops. A 2-dimensional version of Jacoby's head appears. Hello, Ella. Sorry I've been so out of touch lately. I roll my eyes. Sorry apologising for avoiding me since the ball. In all honesty, I know Jacoby can't actually hear me and reply. It isn't the type of spell. Still, I've been hanging around my apartment with nothing but pizza boxes for company. It seems I need to chat with someone my age. I have news for you, continues Jacoby. There's an elf here in Fairylands. Her name is not Adele. She's the mistress of Moonshadow. I've heard of her. I spend a lot of quality time on Magic Web, so I already know the story of Nalt Adele. She's famous for what she lacks. That's the mistress of moonbeams. Jacoby sighs. Well, I'm not sure how to tell you this. Just say it. Even though Jacoby's not really here, I'm actually enjoying this conversation. Nalt Adele thinks you're her mistress. A missing mistress of moonbeams. She's working with Alec's parents and the Cinders in order to create a new glass slipper ball. I'll be the designated prince for the evening. Now Adele is convinced that my presence will prove irresistible to you. I snort laugh. Right. We both know I'm not your ideal prince, but it seems that Nat Adele can't imagine anyone not wanting to wed elf royalty. Elves, I roll my eyes. You guys are full of yourselves. Here is the reason for my message. Whatever you do, stay away from that ball. Personally, I plan to avoid it like the plague. And that works for me. I already had my glass slipper ball with Alec. There's no way I'd ever want to find someone new. Just the thought makes my eyes sting with tears. How can Alec be gone? And there's more, continues Jacoby. You must go into hiding. The fairylands aren't safe for you with Nart Adele around. Sadly, your old haunts on Earth aren't much better. Nart Adele agents centered moonbeam magic on you. That's how all this got started. Jacoby pauses. I don't have any moonbeam magic. Jacoby chuckles. That was me giving you a chance to say that you don't have any moonbeam magic, and that's absolutely true. Still, not Adele has made up her mind. You know how elves can be. My suggestion is to avoid the Fae until this nonsense gets sorted out. At some point, not Adele will figure out who you really are and move on. Until then, stay alert and out of sight. I'll send more messages when I can. The image of Jacoby dissolves until it's only the faintest outline of his face. Next, it vanishes entirely. Fresh waves of anger pour through my system. Now I know who employed this mysterious L cloak. It's also clear I recruited Alec's parents and got my own stepfamily into this nightmare, Nardell. No doubt the mistress of Moonshadow is doing all this to lure me to the glass slipper ball. Draining spells are tricky things. The ritual needs to take place on Earth and in Fairy. My eyes widen. The construction of the L Centre stage. Alec and I marked it as one of our red flags from the infamous binder. Whatever is happening with that stage, it probably has something to do with the draining ritual. Not Adele. Might even be building a fae door to the fairylands. I wouldn't put it past her. All of which adds up to one thing, without a doubt. Not Adele is behind Alec's death. My boyfriend would never allow the glass slipper ball to be used as a lure for my death. That's why Nah Adele had to get rid of him. Well, I've got news for that evil elf. I know her name now. I can perfect my spells and summon her to Earth, and once I have her, I'll make her pay. A small voice in the back of my head says that this isn't really who I am. Revenge only causes more pain. It doesn't bring anyone back from the dead. As a matter of fact, that voice sounds a lot like Bri, and if my best friend were here, maybe she talked me off the ledge on this one. But Bri's gone, along with Nox and Colonel and the Queen of Hearts. Perhaps that's all part of Not Adele's plan. My anger boils over into pure berserker-style rage and fury. I focus the energy into getting down to work. I have a lot of casting to do. And that is the next part of Ella and Alec's story. Thank you for listening, and many blessings.